Hey guys, it's Amber. Welcome back to my channel. It's been a little minute since I did a hair video, but that is because the last thing I really did to my hair was these knotless braids, and originally I wasn't going to share a tutorial with you all because I feel like my method isn't necessarily the most proper technique or the most traditional, but I decided that now it's time for a refresh, and I might as well go ahead and share with you all what I do and how I achieved my knotless braids. So along with that, as you can see in the title, I will also be sharing with you all my personal take on knotless braids versus regular box braids. And so I hope this video is helpful to you in some way. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Continue to share my channel, and let's get into this tutorial.
So starting with just how I install the braids, I will be using this yarn to demonstrate that. I actually got this idea when I was learning how to 3-strand twist from, I believe, Natural 85. So basically each of those 3 colors represent your natural hair, and they represent the 3 strands that make the braid, and then the yellow pieces represent the extra hair or the braiding hair that will be getting added. Sorry, my angle's a little off. Hopefully you can still see, even with my hand sort of being in the way, but all I do is start off by braiding my hair like normal. So you just starting with the regular braid, and after about the first or second motion, I guess, when you have the 2 pieces on the end, you're going to take a piece of your braiding hair and put it underneath and grab it with your hair that's in the middle as well as your hair that's on the farther side, and then you're just going to push it up and continue braiding like normal. Then when the 3rd piece of your natural hair is in the middle, the piece that doesn't have any braiding hair yet, you're going to grab your 2nd piece of braiding hair, do the same thing by taking it underneath, pushing it up, and continuing to braid like normal. Now at this point, one of your strands of hair should have 2 pieces of braiding hair, while the other 2 only have 1. When the ones that have 1 are in the middle and on the outside, that is when you're going to take your last piece of braiding hair and do the same thing you did the first 2 times by putting it underneath, grabbing it with the strand in the middle and on the outside, pushing it up, and continuing to braid. Now, a couple of things to keep in mind. The first strand of hair that you add should be pretty thin, but the 2 after that should be just slightly thicker. Also, I noticed from watching other people do knotless braids, they typically will add more than 3 strands of hair, but I noticed that 3 worked for me, and yeah, I got the thickness I needed, and it looked pretty even all the way down. So basically you just have to find what works for you to achieve the look you're going for. Moving on to actually braiding my hair, I'll be using the Outro Jumbo braid in the color 30, and I'm just going to start setting up my rack. Now, if you don't have a braiding rack, that's fine. The first time I did my braids, I did not have a braiding rack, but it does make the process a lot easier. At this point, I've had these braids in for a little over a month, and this is how it's looking. Definitely need a refresh, but I'm just going to be doing a few around the perimeter. I go ahead and apply my jam, whatever gel that you want to use. I make my 3 sections with my natural hair, do a few braids, and then go in with my first piece of braiding hair. As you can see, when the piece of hair without braiding hair is in the middle, I go in with my second piece of braiding hair. And then finally, I'll go in and attach my last piece of braiding hair and then just braid like normal all the way down. Now, very quickly, I'm going to give my take on knotless braids versus box braids. Well, the regular box braids. I have 5 categories that I will compare the two in, and then we'll go from there. The first category is install. For me, regular box braids takes the win for this because knotless takes so much longer, especially when you're doing them yourself. The next category is appearance. Now for me, knotless take the win on this one. The main difference between the two is knotless lay flatter, whereas with regular you can obviously see the knot at the top. Now even though I do prefer the look of knotless, I don't actually mind the knot at the top of regular box braids. Category number 3 is longevity. For this one, regular box braids take the win. Knotless definitely, at least in my experience and how I did these braids, knotless look older a lot faster. Like I said before, I've only had these in for about a month and they're already looking how my regular box braids look like more towards the end of month 2. The next category is comfortability, and knotless take the win for this because they are more lightweight and there's a lot less tension. Now when I do my regular box braids, I don't do them super tight, but I can tell the difference, and knotless are a lot more comfortable. And finally, the last category is cost. I'm pretty sure knotless are more expensive because 1, I think I used more hair, and 2, I would assume since they take longer, you will be charged more for them. And so for my final results, even though I do like the knotless, I have to go ahead and give my win to regular box braids.
Alright you guys, so this is the final look. Now I did get a little lazy with the refresh. I decided not to redo as many as I planned on because in reality I'm not going to keep these braids in for too much longer. But even with that, I hope you still were able to find this video helpful. If so, let me know down below. Also, if you have had both knotless and regular braids, let me know which you prefer. If you've done them on yourself, attempted to do them on yourself, or plan on giving it a try. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And with that being said, peace, love, and beauty. Bye.